This video is on a new wireless speaker from our friends at KEF, the LSX II. Of course, there are a lot of great powered wireless speakers on the market, but I have to say, this new LSX2 gets you into the world of true high fidelity with a sound that betters most amp speaker combinations that you could put together at this price point. They also have the look and feel of a genuine luxury product with a design, fit, and finish that you'd expect on multi-$1,000 speakers. Most of you have probably heard of the British speaker company KEF, but for those of you new to audio, KEF has been around since 1961. In 1988, they developed and patented their uni-q driver, the first true coincident source driver that the world had ever seen. Ever since reproduced sound was first invented, engineers have been trying to achieve the perfect speaker. Many believe that a perfect speaker would be a single sphere that produces the complete range of sound. So far, no one has invented that, but aligning the tweeter with the woofer takes you pretty close to this concept, which is why KEF was able to patent their uni-q technology. KEF has been improving their uni-q driver ever since, and the LSX2 is an excellent example of how well it can actually perform. Now, we've been having a blast with our evaluation units, and I wanted to share everything that we found when we were playing around with these great little speakers. First, the luxury experience starts right when you open the box. They have a unique package in that once you take off the tape, the front of the box actually folds down towards you, and you simply slide the packing piece of the speakers right out of the box, making it much easier to pull them out. Now, KEF has even included instructions to grab them from the sides so that you don't accidentally damage the uni-q driver. Now, this is just a first-class touch. Now, these guys are pretty small, at about 9 inches tall, 6 inches wide, and 7 inches deep, and you'll get 5 great finish options of gloss red, black, blue, white, and a special finish called Soundwave by Terrence Conran, and the uni-q driver having a different color for each type. Now, as I said earlier, the fit and finish are at a deluxe luxury level, and they're just beautiful. They have a small raised piece on the bottom with 4 little feet that raise them up slightly off the surface. Those feet are also sticky to hold them still, which is a well-known way to improve the sound of a small speaker. The idea is that you don't want a small, lightweight speaker to slide around when you start to crank things up. Audiophiles have been using blue tack on small speakers for this reason for decades. KEF also makes an optional floor stand, wall bracket, and desktop stand. When you look at the rear of the LSX2, they have a port in the corner and a great variety of connections. You have an optical in, USB-C in, analog in, and HDMI ARC. There is also a connection for a wired Ethernet and another to connect the slave speaker to the main speaker. Now, across the top, there are Bluetooth pairing, KEF wireless subwoofer pairing, and a reset button. And there's also a subwoofer out. And let us tell you, this is not your typical wireless speaker subwoofer out. We'll touch more on that in a little bit later. Many computer speakers have the amplifiers in the main unit and connect to the second one with just a speaker cable. The LSX2 takes things a step further with the amps built into each unit. There's a 70-watt amp for the woofer portion and a 30-watt amp for the tweeter. These amps are obviously fine-tuned to each driver, which always gives powered speakers like this a leg up. Having a separate amp for each speaker component with electronic rather than passive crossovers is a much better way to go. You usually get a much more effortless and open sound, which is undoubtedly the case with these. Many music streaming options are also available: AirPlay 2, Chromecast, UPnP, Roon, and Bluetooth 4.2. Built-in services include Spotify via Spotify Connect, Tidal via Tidal Connect, Amazon Music, Qobuz, Deezer, and Internet Radio. And if you are watching this in China, they do also include QQ Music via QPlay. The DACs inside these LSX2s are capable of accepting high-res audio up to 384 kHz and 24 bits. The sample rate downgrades for optical. If you are serious about better sound quality, you should use the wired connection between the speakers, which will take you from 48K to 96K. Alright, so I initially set these up in what would be considered a medium-sized room of about 14 by 21 with 9-foot ceilings. The quick start guide tells you to download the KEF app first, but I actually just found them on my iPhone as a network, clicked it, and they connected really quickly. And then I went and downloaded the KEF app. I then used both Qobuz and Tidal for streaming testing. Now KEF must have some pretty serious computer engineering behind this app, as it was the best that I think I've ever seen for a wireless speaker. I don't think you'll ever want to use a little remote that comes with speakers anymore after using and seeing this app. For starters, it was just really clear and well laid out, with their inputs across the top and your other streaming options logically grouped together right below it. It is super easy to find music to play, and KEF gives you many options on how the speakers behave. You can adjust the power saving modes, the wake up source, the LED light, and so much more. And if you need to physically put the right primary speaker with all the connections on the left side of your room, you can easily just flip them right in the app. You also get great volume settings that let you fine-tune how the remote or start device works and set a max level. They're just super flexible. But let me tell you, the real magic happens when you push the little EQ button. Ask any speaker engineer what has the most impact on how their speakers will sound, and they will always tell you that it's the room. But the average person setting up their first pair of true high-fidelity speakers usually doesn't have the knowledge that a seasoned speaker designer might have on the things that you can do with a speaker like this one and how to vastly improve how it sounds in your room. KEF brilliantly gives you two different adjustment menus, normal and expert. You will need to name a profile to get started. But the first question is, do you want it to be normal or expert? In the expert mode, you can access the actual frequency settings to adjust the speaker. But their brilliance comes with the normal mode, where you just walk through a few quick questions to adjust the speaker performance to your room. As you can see, it asks if the speaker is on a stand or on a desk. Then you can tell the speaker about the distances in relation to the speaker and the room. Next, you'll tell the LSX2 how lively or how dead your room is, and the relative size of your room. There's a little pop-up with answers for all the sections that people might have questions on. Should you wish to add a sub, this is also super easy. You can choose from the KEF subs or do a custom setting where you can answer some simple questions to dial things in again. This is just so cool. Through technology, KEF enables someone who might be a novice but wants a better sound to quickly do what could take a really long time otherwise. And if you're an audio geek like us, you're gonna love the expert side, especially the subwoofer settings. You can set both high and low pass, sub polarity, and gain, which is very slick. And inside both settings, if you are using a KEF wireless adapter, you can turn that on to account for the latency in the wireless signal. Super cool. I first used the normal mode to quickly set them up and then started listening. One big claim of KEF uni-q driver is how evenly it disperses the sound. So even if you're sitting pretty far off axis, you still get a great stereo image. And to my ears, these speakers really showed that off. I could sit directly in front of one speaker and still hear an excellent stereo soundstage. But as you might expect, when I sat dead center, it was even wider and deeper with great precision in the location of instruments. The first cut I played was Free Falling from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and I could swear from the mid-bass and up, I thought I was listening to a far more expensive set of speakers. Every individual instrument is totally separated from the others, with an effortlessness to the sound that you get on very high-end gear. Granted, these do not go that deep in the bass, but what is there after you fine-tune them for your room, it's actually very pleasing for your ear, and it has a great tonal quality. You can tell that these come from a speaker company that knows how to make a seriously great sound. And after about 2 minutes of listening, another aspect jumped out to me. I was tapping my toes and bobbing my head up and down, really getting into the rhythm of the music. And the more tracks that I played that had a lot of swing and rhythm, the more I realized that these little speakers really get the timing right, which ends up drawing you more and more into the music. Another cut that sounded really good was Bleed to Love Her by Fleetwood Mac. This is a Lindsey Buckingham song with a lot of fast guitar. I could hear every nuance on this track. I noticed on this cut that at a higher volume level, the room was probably a little bit too big for these speakers as they were getting a bit boomy on the deep bass. But boy, the guitar plucks were just spectacular. I then decided to connect the KEF KC62 sub to these speakers. With this being on their list of subs in the app, you could see in the expert mode where it finely tuned both the low and high pass settings. I replayed those two cuts. And boy, having that bottom octave really made things come to life. As you would expect, the bass now reached deep and had far more punch, but the speaker seemed a bit more open and effortless, as adding the sub took the deep bass demands off the mid-range driver. Now when I went back to free falling, I felt the timing with the sub on was not quite as engaging as when it was off. So I played around with it on and off and confirmed that to my ears the rhythm and pacing were just a little bit better with the speaker just by itself. And this makes sense. Without a sub, we were back to a fairly perfect point source. Overall though, the benefits of the sub far outweigh this tiny little nitpick. If you also want to take your great new music speakers and improve your TV sound, the HDMI ARC connection will make that happen in a snap. Your TV remote will take over the speaker's volume control when you turn on your TV, instantly switching to that input. Even if you have an older TV without an ARC connection, you could use the optical input without the volume feature. This application is where having the sub will make you smile, as the little KC62 can do great justice to those big special effects. If you do decide to buy these, your greatest way of supporting us is to buy them from one of our award-winning showrooms or at audioadvice.com. You can purchase with confidence with our price guarantee, 2-day shipping, and lifetime expert support. We appreciate your support at Audio Advice, and we look forward to delivering you a great customer experience. Now, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about other breakthrough products just like these, please click the like button and click the subscribe button. You can also click the notification button so you'll get a notification when we release new videos like this. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.